Village Green Preservation Society. God save Donald Duck, Bonneville and Variety. We are the Desperate Dan Appreciation Society. God save Strawberry Jam and all the different varieties.
Greetings Game Watchers, I'm Chris Capel and welcome to the review of Dying Light the Following. Given that I nominated Dying Light as my Game of the Year for 2015, I was looking forward to Techland's long-hyped epic new expansion. Set after the end of Dying Light, with player character and all-round goody two-shoes Carl Crane still in Haran, a dying runner comes to him with a story of a passage out the city to the island's countryside, where a group of villagers have found a way to avoid turning to zombies even after being bitten. Carl ventures down this hidden path and finds both the countryside and the villagers, but they're not quite as equitable as he'd hoped. Plus the zombie hordes seem even tougher out here, and they are. Techland advise a minimum of level 20, so I hope you're a Dying Light veteran. I was level 23 when I started playing the following, and I certainly struggled at some moments. The zombie hordes are more numerous, the darkness-based volatiles are far more vicious and pretty much unbeatable in single player, and new gigantic zombies called Freaks of Nature offer the biggest challenge yet. The following is for players who have finished Dying Light and want a tougher challenge, and thankfully most of the really difficult stuff is optional, such as clearing out volatile caves or the aforementioned giant freaks. The big deal about the following, apart from the difficulty, is that Techland have traded in the free-running frenzy of the city for the wide-open countryside. This has allowed Techland to introduce a mechanic sorely missing from the original campaign: vehicles, or specifically, a slightly customisable version of the buggy from Half-Life 2. The countryside around Haran is huge and wide open. Fields, mountains, roads, farms, rivers, small villages and outposts. It's really quite spectacular to look at compared to the cramped city streets of Haran. Despite just being an expansion, the new map is bigger than both areas of Dying Light combined, and it's basically just an open area to drive around, squish zombies, complete missions and discover new areas of note. Just like in the main game, airdrops, places of interest and events pop up as you're exploring, and this keeps things interesting. It'll take you hours to explore the entire map. Other than just generally doing things for money and fun, the main goal of the following is building up trust with the locals. They've got the secrets of anti-zombification, and the only way Carl is going to get it is if he gains their trust and gets deeper into their religion and the worship of a figure called the Mother. Every nice thing you do for them, from completing main quests to saving survivors from bandits and random occurrences, builds up your trust level, which is neat. Missions can be found at the various outposts, and these range from finding missing persons to more imaginative fare. There's a significant amount of gameplay here. While hugely impressive and undoubtedly very different from the main on-foot vehicle-less campaign, I admit I didn't have as much fun driving through farmland as I did parkouring around Haran. This may have something to do with the fact that games with zombies and or cars are plentiful, whereas I can't think of any other zombie free-running titles. This is also partly due to the driving not actually being much fun. Yes, watching zombie bits fly off is hilarious, but then Techland start bringing in virals who can keep up with you and exploding bombers, and suddenly things stop being funny. Plus it must be said that the map is just a frustration to traverse. The countryside is filled with trees, tiny walls, lakes, outcroppings, small dips and other hazards that will stop your buggy dead and leave you vulnerable to infected attacks. While it sounds great that the map is so vast, it doesn't help that there is no fast travel, so getting anywhere takes ages. Then there's the mountain cutting the map in two. At some point you'll be given the mission of restarting the power plant by the dam, and if you follow the waypoint exactly, you will end up completely lost, as the only way to reach the southern half of the huge map is via a road on the very eastern side of the island. The map is literally divided in half for no other reason than to complicate things for the player. This is made even more of a problem during night time, which if you remember was the other big selling point of Dying Light. Now that the countryside is so vast, you'll need the buggy to get about anywhere, and guess what? Aside from the darkness making those trees, walls, lakes etc. hard to spot, those pesky volatiles are roaming the fields and they're tougher than ever, and not only does the buggy attract them, they're also faster than it. Consequently, in the following, the night is no fun. At one point I was killed at night and spawned pretty far from my car and miles from a safe zone where I could rest. I had to run for it and I died multiple times before I quit the game in frustration. So that's two of the unique features of Dying Light out the window. The only technical problem I found was that the save system is complete trash. Now the following does save all the time, just not the player's location. Plenty of times after dying I've spawned far from anywhere, and the problem's even worse if you dare to quit the game. I once loaded my save and found myself deposited halfway across the map from my previous location and miles from my car. Now there's a lot to like about Dying Light the following. The gameplay is very different from the main game, there's loads of varied and imaginative missions. It's an excellent challenge for anyone finished with the central campaign, and the map will take hours for anyone to traverse, let alone properly explore. It's definitely good value for money, and if you're a season pass owner who's been waiting patiently for the last year, you'll be laughing. Nevertheless, in crafting such a different experience from Dying Light, Techland have lost a lot of what made the game unique. The wide open countryside means there's precious little free running, and the buggy veers between boring and frustrating. The night is now pretty much unplayable, and on loading a save, the game regularly deposits you miles from your car. If you like the idea of cruising around farmlands in a weaponless Half-Life 2-style buggy, by all means pick up the following, but don't expect a smooth ride. All that said, I gave Dying Light the following a still good score of 7.0. Thanks for watching guys, Chris Capel and GameWatcher, out.
Damn it, what a fucking wasteland.